The starving man who eats 9 meals in 3 days has collapsed. I don't care if I eat skewers on the hour. I didn't expect to find a roast leg of venison. My little heart can't take it. I heard there was a candlelight dinner at the end. Is this the same man I know? Dude's on vacation in the wilderness of Europe. It's not even a start, and it's already a mess. I can't wait for someone to airdrop me. After all, that little cutie in the forest is waiting to be caught. It's better steamed or braised, but it's been a little hot lately. It's better to keep it light. At least I won't be in a squat. Just a little too many bears around here. I'm really afraid it'll come looking for shit. One mouth and half a butt. The temperature here is very cold. Back in the day, Taco wasn't afraid to go naked. I don't know if I'm old now, or the editor didn't want to do the coding. Pants are a permanent fashion. I can see every challenge. We're going to lose our fans like this. It has now been airdropped to its destination. To avoid standing in a box, there is something to be prepared. Like this camera is his weapon, not just a record of life. And death replay on the hour. It's a must-have for monastic travel. I mean, there's a theory that Lord chose this place. The sound of insects was everywhere. What does this mean for families? It's all the protein you can get your hands on. 9 meals in 3 days may be a thing of the past. Then I'll probably hear silly laughter every day. You don't have to worry about food. I'm a little thirsty and need to find some water. Dude, why don't you drink more water before you get here? This is the real thing. I don't eat for a week just to feel hungry. But a day without a drink makes me feel sick. It's been less than half an hour. I just want some water all the time. Maybe God heard Taco's wish. The clouds were beginning to thicken. Hey, that's enough to make sure. The most important thing now is to put a harness on the camera. I don't want to see a turntable coming to collect. Too late to explain. Make time for the whole shelter. Pile some spruce branches on top for a roof. The son firmly believe that as long as constantly stacked nails. I'm sure I can withstand it. He seems to have forgotten that the rain is not physical damage. No problem with magic damage soaking into it. Just lying on the ground is cool. Want to stay warm all night. It has to be something good. The sphagnum moss is soft and comfortable under my feet. It's better than a blanket you buy online. The value for money is super high. The most important thing is that it doesn't cost money. It takes a little effort to get a good chunk. Sleep can be replaced by other things. You just need to dry it before you use it. Otherwise, it's like a waterbed. The body is completely unable to perform. There will also be a rheumatism warning. Right now, it's just raindrops falling. Not enough to wet my throat. I'm starting to get a headache and a little dizzy. Would you like to see where I can get some water? Actually, just lay down on the ground. After a while, there'll be rainwater to drink. It can save energy and replenish water. If there's no kit, I suggest you drink it with your pants down. It is interesting that there was no heavy rain until dark. Is that a special effect? It's no use worrying too much. It's time to go to bed. Without the warmth of a flame, it's 100% cold to wake up. The moss is wet and cold, so it's better than lying on the ground. What else can you do? It can only be warmed by certain exercises. This is not a very good shot to show. Taco is really old, and he kept comforting himself in front of the camera. I used to be fine lying in the snow. There were no surprises. I've been shivering with cold all night. I can't take it anymore. Start exercising before dawn. Reactivate the body. I have to say, this muscle does. It warms up the body, though, but it takes a little too much energy. I really want to drink the whole water. Let's go down the hill and see what surprises we have. After being here all night in the cold, I don't want to stay in the mountains anymore. Grab your camera bag and head somewhere warm. If it wasn't for the vlog, saves a lot of energy going hungry. Let's just say he loved the audience. And gather food on the way. Blueberries that other people pay for. You can put a hand in your mouth right here. I like the idea of not spending any money. That's enough time to finish this bush. As the saying goes, the early bird gets the virtue. Now that's 2 eyes shining. Too bad there's no weapon in hand. Or show me the world's #1 fighter. The sound of running water below is becoming more and more pronounced. Soon to see the dream stream. You have to reward yourself with a drink. He swallowed it in his mouth. No wonder I starved 9 times in 3 days. Turns out I got my belly drunk. It was a lot more energetic. It literally seeps out of my face. The lower you go, the more open space there is. Perfect for a shelter. The strong never complain about the environment. You can be happy with just one pair of hands. The logs and fallen leaves are grouped together. You can build a very classic shelter. Even if you haven't built one, you can learn it by looking at it. It's almost done. It's quite beautiful. Then lay a thick layer of fallen leaves on top. This waterproof and warm effect is directly filled. It must be a lot more comfortable than yesterday's. It's time to get Firestar King online. The plants nearby are greener than overhead. You can only collect the dry ones. You don't have to get too hung up on the ground. Look up, and you might find something good. This bird's nest would be perfect for Tinder. I'm in a good mood. But don't forget, we only have a few hours left before dark. We got to get this drill out of here. All I can do is hold the rock in the drill. That alone is not safe enough. The resin can be removed to increase the viscosity, so you don't have to throw the drill. All ready. Let's see how fast Takako's hands are, although not as fast and powerful as when he was younger. But the rhythm is more steady. Mars can also come out smoothly. When little mouth blows like this, Mars says out. It's a little awkward. What else can you do? Can only pick up the drill and move again. Familiar operations, familiar results. Bye-bye and bye-bye, but it didn't light up. It's still too soon. The tinder will definitely dry better. Duko does not believe in evil. It's impossible to fail again and again. Picking up a diamond is like masturbating. More religious than ever. I don't know which one of Daniel's singles to trade for. The flames were creeping up, but the joy didn't last long. Taco, now it's time to enter the sage. I must have thought I was in too much of a hurry. It should take a little more time to develop a relationship. They say the person who knows you best is you. Detsy said, and let go. Even though there's no fire today, but to experience the strength of the shelter. After all, not everyone can make a fire. Starvation and cold are the norm for survival in the wild. If you think about it, you're spoiling fans. Show you how to shake your legs through a cold night. Got to say, the head does spin fast. I know how to get myself up. However, it also affects the mood. The sun hasn't quite set yet. The body has been involuntarily trembling. Detsy think their technology is no problem. Just made the same mistake most people do. Wanting everything? A little greedy, huh? Maybe it'll feel better if we start the fire first. We can't keep thinking about it. Grab yourself and go to your dream. Waking up the next day is so cold that it's a spirit. So as soon as I woke up, I ran to collect materials. You can put it in the sun later. Look at all that tinder. There's no way everything can't light up. Building a fire is hard work. You don't have to fill your stomach to exercise. The easiest food around. It must be these insects. Just grab the butterfly and shove it in your mouth. I can still tell when it's good. Not as much protein as those bugs. I can't get the meat. I want a salad for health. The taste is not very good and a little bitter. I really don't recommend trying to chew. Even Taco doesn't like to eat food, understand everything. That's what I said. Tinder has been in the sun for so long. There's no way the fire failed this time. Look at the excitement on his face. Men love to play with fire. After a long time of preparation, fire that was quite successful, accompanied by give and give laughter. The flames are getting hotter. Yamashita's gonna have to watch it through his glasses. I'm afraid the next thing you know, he's gonna be in a deluxe room. Taco has everything now, except for the hair. He's kind of missing women. I don't know if it's a wife. That smile never came down anyway. It's nice to have a fire when it's cold. It's a shame it's empty up there. See when we can get some meat. I can only eat roasted radishes now. It's a lot harder than I thought. Not as hard as those of you at work, of course. It's actually medicine. Eating too much is bad for the stomach. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. Starve as much as you can. It's better to be hungry than sore. That makes a lot of sense. It didn't take long before the diarrhea started, so it's better to starve. I can't even gather this firewood. I don't know if I pulled too hard. Now I have a headache and want to sleep. Luckily, I didn't eat too much. How about we give it a hard resistance first? We all know it's dangerous to get sick in the wild. Wouldn't you have eaten anything if you said that? I woke up the next day not so good. I barely slept last night. Feel the belly arming up there. From time to time, he breaks through the perimeter and gets outside. It's hard to live like this. I didn't expect to see bear poop. You don't have to taste it to know it's fresh. Too bad we didn't see any food left. It's not easy living next door to a bear. Just don't make a lunge at him. Take a closer look. What clues are you missing? Did the bear chase away all the food? And now there's a deer running down. I thought I was a dog. On second thought, you don't get dogs in the middle of nowhere. Then I realized there were deer out there. If I could hunt and eat, just think about how good it is. What's missing in your hand? Find a deer trail first, and then set up a trap. Look at this deer poop. Probably from this morning. This animal path can be used. I'm sure we can catch the deer with some traps. There were traces of other animals besides deer. We're afraid of attracting other animals to the trap. Even follow the smell to get revenge. You don't have to worry that much. If they do come and attack, just in time to show you how you learned hand-to-hand fighting. The trap is simple and effective. It's just a matter of which lucky cub shows up. A trap is all good, but it takes a while. Go see what's on the grass. The sun is perfect here. I feel so refreshed. A common sight around here is grasshoppers. I used to catch them when I was a kid. Just remember you have to be fast and ruthless. Grasshopper protein is comparable to beef. You can still taste the chicken when it's cooked. And so the grasshoppers are strung together. It's really full of happiness. Put it on top and bake it. You can even see grasshoppers moving. The quality of the meat is 100% guaranteed. You see how happy Uncle Da is eating. I'd sell this at a barbecue stand. Guaranteed to explode in the night market. Do ye can think of a compliment? I said it all. All in all, it's delicious. How can I miss a cup of tea after a full meal? There is no container for boiling water. You can get the spruce bark off. In theory, it should be boiled. And, just to be sure, the gaps are filled with resin. The quality of life is skyrocketing. Just get some water and see. The pot is not leaking. Put it on the fire for fear of spilling. The best is to use boiling stones in the water. It makes the water taste good. It takes time to bake rocks. It also takes time for the water to boil. After a long wait, you can add the leaves. Not so much tea. It feels more like a bowl of soup. As long as you have fun. Anyway, the small life is getting more and more moist. I even have time to clean my teeth, so I can go back to my wife. I don't think you got kicked out of bed again. The trap was there for a while. Go see if you can make it better. I don't think anyone thought of it. That trap can catch deer. Are you sure there's no script? This is really a stroke of luck. I can't hold back the laughter. But we have to see what's going on first. This deer is young as good. Fall asleep. The virtuous son of a good heart is a stick. Thought I could knock it awake. Still no reaction. Only by yelling. There's no way. Take it back for the fire therapy. I hope it will perk up. You know, there are bears around here. For its safety. To a remote place. Direct fire is too much trouble. Clever Detsy thought of batch treatment. Even though there's no knife in his hand. But there's a lot of quartz on the ground. I need to design my own knife. There you have it, the knife. There's no problem cutting. If you're careful, you can get a deer skin. You don't have to worry about getting cold down there. We could get over 30 kilos of meat at the very least. Not to mention the internal parts. I just want to bite into it. Takuko did not forget to give it fire. The effect is very obvious. Directly help it burn fat and lose weight. The roasted liver really smells good. Listen for the sound. You can tell if it tastes good. Don't worry about going hungry for the next few days. To avoid being remembered by the bear. A wise man. I made a homemade oven. The rest of the meat can be processed inside. Shifting the flame takes a little trickery. The best thing is to get the fungus off. It's also easy to use. Just straight into the flame. It's not burning fast, but we have to move the spark quickly. After all, that hand really hurts. It worked better than expected. Don't you know? How about tomorrow? The skin is also sun-dried. You can take it off and wear it, even if he doesn't do anything. Just eat this whole roast deer buffet. We're able to successfully complete the challenge home. Things are looking up. as long as it doesn't rain for 3 hours. The hide needs some work too. You need it to keep you warm in this cold. It's easy to deal with. Stretch out all 4 feet and pull. Then don't worry about shrinking and distorting. A small deer. Directly let the yi forget the original heart. This side of the pit is pretty much done. Just looking at this leg, starvation is banned. Take this bite. I looked across the screen and cried. This is delicious. There's more in the field. All I need is a leg a day. It's perfectly fine to stay here for 10 days. It's kind of sweet to think about. The problem is a storm is coming. What do you really worry about? The first priority is to take care of the fire. As long as the fire is there, you can eat well. The shelter said it was a bit of a leak, but it doesn't affect how you express yourself. The shelter went much better than expected. You don't have to worry about getting wet. I want the deerskin taken care of before I go home. The key is to get the fat off the surface. A stone knife in your hand is sharp enough. Follow the steps step by step. Soon the buckskin vest was done. It does look good from the front. Handmade with 100% deerskin. The mood is so good. The rest of the time is not spent munching on venison. Just lie down and rest, to celebrate how well things have gone, and prepare to feast to reward myself. All kinds of resources in the forest have been taken down. It's even romantic with candles. Boy, this is really getting better for Dirk. Where do you come here to starve? I'm practically here for dinner. Eat whatever you want. Venison with blueberry sauce. Is this the same Toko I knew? Serious suspicion is that it was opened the wrong way. After eating and drinking enough, he said he could go home and have a big dinner. Who can not love such a divine life? Friends who like to watch wild survival. Don't you want a little attention and support? The yi with practical action to prove to everyone. 9 turns with only the filling is really strong. Little fish and shrimps just can't resist the temptation. This pot of fish soup is quite high in virtue. Like the original Friends, I suggest you eat it raw. I think we can still get a warm bite. Dai heard that there are delicious food in the rainforests of Borneo. That's the smell of it. You'd have to check with the natives before you went in. After all, human sense. Durham must have done it with a handle. But why is he still wearing these pants? That would be a little embarrassing. What? Afraid to give the village old lady on the mind. I mean, people don't care. I was willing to send him deep into the jungle. The yi can only tears the original underwear as payment. Leave a pair of pants. People challenge you to bring what you can. And Dirk doesn't need anything but a camera. Not even a hair. Just trying to teach you the best way to survive in the wild. I can't learn. After all, the head can be broken, the blood can flow, the hair cannot be messed up. Still can't stand my mate-killing bangs. I haven't even left yet. My body is already sweating. Don't get me wrong. It's not false. It's just too hot and humid here. It's like running a faucet. Look up at the sun. Close a business in like 3 hours. Let's talk about tack. Everyone else comes in from 9 to 9. You're here this morning bragging to the natives. Didn't even think to start the challenge early. Now you know you're freaking out. Anyone who goes hungry in the wild knows that. Water, fire, and shelter. We're gonna have to find a way to make this start work. Right now, Day just wants to find water first and set up a shelter nearby. It's just the side of the ground is full of thorns. Every step feels like a needle. I heard a buzzing at my feet. Mosquitoes are known to thrive near water sources. We haven't seen the river yet. I found water lying on the ground. It's definitely not drinkable. I don't know how many diseases are hidden in there. How does the stomach drink bad affect hunger? The further down you go, the more mosquitoes there are. The yi has heard the river. That smile on his lips is harder to press than AK. Now we just need to get the shelter ready. Just for an hour. You can't build it with your bare hands. It's just going to be one night anyway. I was supposed to rest under a tree. I didn't expect ants to take over the place first. This skin is too thick to withstand an army of ants. What are you going to do? Find another place. There is plenty of material here. You're going to get away with whatever you want. This time, bend the branches into a tent shape. Turns out you don't even need a knife. Direct is to work miracles. Just pull off the palm leaf and be done. As long as it doesn't rain hard at night. The shelter is a bit of a shoddy project. You can't drink too much water on the hour. Be reasonable even when the water is moving. It should also be boiled before tasting. It's just that Taco is really thirsty. He didn't think it would stop him from starving. Having fun is the most important thing anyway. It looks like it's getting dark soon. Well, you better get back to bed. I have to say the night vision is good. I can see that Hera does in plain sight. Nearby mosquitoes are also becoming active. I'm not going to be able to sleep. It was a battle of wits with Motzi all night. Emaciation visible to the naked eye. Probably got a lot of blood drained out of her. It smells a little anemic. This mosquito is really excessive. I wanted to come over for breakfast after midnight. Now I'm angry and angry. I chose to be a loser. What do we have to say today to start a fire? Or I get sucked like this every day. It's hard to go home and explain to your wife that you're working. Repelling mosquitoes is just a side effect. Mostly I'm hungry. I want to warm myself up all the time. I think there are so many mosquitoes here. Why don't you make mosquito cakes out of them? I can make up for all the blood I took last night. The jungle is really damp here. Lenses are automatically filtered. You know, it looks like you're a little bright. There's so much humidity around. You wouldn't think you'd make a good fire. But who is Taco? He is the chief disciple of Zoroastrianism. To the abandoned Special Forces training camp. There's a lot of material here that we can use. See how Taco turns something bad into something amazing. A combination of all sorts of things. It's time to show the real tech. It used to be confident and beautiful to watch Day make fire. But in this humid environment, my hair is in knots and I still don't see sparks. So the average person really can't learn to bow drill fire. Or just carry a firearm. You don't know when you hurt your feet. You know, this humid environment. Any wound could get worse. I mean, it's not just a little spit anymore. Day's a little freaked out right now. It's a problem if it gets infected. Start with a whole piece of ginger. It doesn't taste very good. I wouldn't have gone to the heart of palm before I finished it. All you have to do is cut off the surrounding brambles. You end up with a heart of palm that looks like a green onion. Tax says people all over the world love to eat it. Why haven't I seen it at the wet market? I didn't realize there were any surprises. Protein like beef maggots. How much worse could it taste? It's just a little physical discomfort at best. I didn't hear any of the laughter from Da. I'm not going to try. And then you have to go back to work. And now my hands don't shake. Good time for friction movement. A special lubricant was added to the wooden handle. It's very smooth when rubbed together. It really feels like flying. With the effort of sex, finally got the ashes out. If there's not an accident, there's an accident coming. As soon as you put it on the tinder, put it out. It doesn't matter what you do. The fire just won't light up. In his career of building fires, one of the few that failed. It is the so-called wind laughing against the wind reason. Trying to fill myself up with poisonous chicken soup. Forget about that terrible fire. Taco is now red temperature warning. Get some cold water to cool it down. We can't keep the fire going at this time. I'm afraid he's going to cut himself open again. Only good food can soothe the heart at this time. Look at the little bottle popping. Say it's a state-of-the-art fishing trap. I can tell when you don't get there first. It's the fish you can catch and eat. While I was waiting, my head was full of food. Read all the names of the dishes like that. I'm getting a little hungry. It's a shame we're not doing crosstalk. Is it time to see the traps? Families don't understand. It only takes a minute for the color to change. The master sensed a familiar smell. It's obviously not my own. I think it's from earlier Special Forces training. The crawfish stayed for God knows how long. Just put it right in your mouth. It's true that he's a good man. I call that a crunch. What is it that's marinating it? That's what makes him eat like this. I don't think it's going to be easy. They got palm leaves to cover himself in after dark. Never mind if there are ants on it. I told you it would stop the mosquitoes. Better to be bitten than drained. Sleep was better than I thought. Why don't you wake up and start building a fire there? Why did the fire fail before? That must be the quality of the rope. If you use my dad's 7 wolves, this fire has been creeping up for a long time. Where could this be so grievous? Since the fire was not successful. Then do something that makes you happy. Like extending the shelter. Man, this is not a happy thing. Shouldn't we catch some fish first? So do you spread the leaves on top of each other? I can't believe I made myself laugh. If only someone could do that to themselves. I could wake up laughing in my sleep right now. When I was in a good mood, I started building a fire there again. This time replace the rope you found. I have to say, what you pick up is better than what you make. After a few rubs, spark smoke out. Pour and blow into the tinder. And guess what? It's a fire. Facts have proved that the chief disciple of Zoroastrianism is not a blind gift. The laughter never stopped. Is playing with fire a stimulant for man? No wonder you're messing around with lighters. What does it mean to have a successful fire? It means Master Da is going to start teaching success. Why did he succeed? Is it because of the rope? No, it's about focusing on failure. Dare to find success in failure. Encourage yourself along the way. Yeah, we got a good fire. Everything makes sense right now. Such a cause for celebration. And of course, make yourself a glass of happy water. Use a marinated bottle as a pan. A bottle full of strong tea in hand. The taste is really very familiar. I just don't know how to describe it, okay. It tastes good anyway. I recommend that you come and have a taste. Things are going really well for Master Da at the moment. After the fire, no mosquitoes came to eat late at night. And reward yourself with a little crab. Is really the next meal like to watch the Dead Sea eat. It's really healing. It's a new day. You can smell the man through the screen. If this is marinated, can he get laid by his wife back home? Your football dream can't stop there. Get in the pool and rub yourself right away. Oh day, that's xiang now. I'm a little embarrassed of myself. Is there any spice in the water? This is a whole spicy or tomato flavor. Tak is in a good mood. I just want to take a wave around here. There's still an animal trail around. Too bad there's nothing new about it. I want to organize the barbecue buffet. The success rate is not very high. But as a human being, the most important thing is to dream. No. What's the difference between that and salted fish? It doesn't have to be complicated. Just pull the saplings off whenever you want. Plus the wire we found at the camp earlier. It could be used with a little combination. The effect looks good. Curious what you can catch. Anyway, Taco just wants to catch a deer. All I can say to him about this fantasy. How can you start dreaming before it's even dark? I'm not hopeful at all. Why didn't you say you could catch a wild shellfish? Because of the trap. The fire was almost out when I got back. So some dreams should not be blown about. Originally, the master thought of further waves. It's just not good enough. The old wound is getting more and more painful. Only when I stop to deal with it. It's all sores on the soles of your feet. It really hurts if things keep spreading like this. Fear is not as simple as cutting off meat and feet. We need to give it a nice, clean environment. It doesn't have to be too complicated. It's just a matter of collecting more material. Wouldn't it be nice to build a hammock? Not only can you stay off the ground, but you can get a good night's sleep. He thinks he might really be a genius. If you didn't use a knife, you'd have to pull it off. Stubborn guys can still bite with their teeth. You don't need many, just 8 branches. Tie everything together in order. In theory, it can hold up. There's no cracking sound sitting on it. It's just not very comfortable lying down. There's nothing wrong with the whole thing, right? Reward yourself with a snack. Don't look at the tiny beetle. There are flies massaging on my legs. This 2-for-1 thing. How could Dirge let that go? The juice suddenly burst out in the mouth. Where are we eating beetles here? It's just beef balls with gravy. An unprecedented sense of impact. I mean, it's going to blow up a lot of his eyes. He didn't expect it to taste so good. Congratulations on a delicious new addition to the wilderness menu. Just then it began to rain. Today's happiness pressed pause. I hear leeches go better with you in the rain. I have 2 on my feet. I'm not very hungry yet. I'll eat when I'm fattened up. The food was clearly arranged. I don't know if it was the beetle. The master finally remembered the pickled bottle. Been up all night trying to figure out how. In fact, think about it as special forces. I'm sure the teaching is about the same. Look at his smile. I guess it must have reminded me of something. And he's not in any hurry to reveal the answer. How about checking out the traps first? Even though it triggered the mechanism, but didn't catch anything. He thinks he's good at it. I'm sure it was just a bit of bad luck. What can you catch with a circle that big? I might as well take my chances. To make sure the feet stay dry. The camera bag was ruined. I hope it works. Now put the brace on your feet. Walking speed has improved significantly. Back in this familiar place. I'm going to give you the answer. Let's get the guy at dinner and hear it. A lot of places don't have toilets. Everyone poops straight from the top. A lot of times just get into the water. Has been eaten clean by the surrounding fish. Use feces to make a nest. More than any bait you could use, you know. Day hasn't used the bathroom in 8 days. Turns out it's really waiting for us. No wonder there was a familiar smell. The thought of him making soup out of it. Can only say strong, need not say more. This is a lot easier for the master. And don't forget to show the bait. It's still pretty hot. I will see who dares to drink water downstream. I don't know how many traps lurk in there. No wonder Day keeps stressing that the water upstream will be cleaner. You can still learn from watching videos. It won't take long. The fish came charging at the smell. I'm afraid I can't eat hot. The moment Day picked it up, all the bait in there is pretty much the same. If it wasn't for the belly, and maybe a little bit of bait, before the fish absorbs it all. Get rid of that meat right now. That should keep you from eating your essence. I like to call this soup 9 soups. The bottom mouth goes out, and the top mouth comes back. And so on and so on. What I didn't realize was the internal organs weren't taken care of. I don't know how to describe it, do I? You're taking care of the audience by not eating it raw. One bite at a time. This is really good food. You can even smell yourself. Of course it is.
I love it, I love it, I love it.
Finish with a gargle of shrimp. Was it the same trap that caught him? I just hope Taco's wife doesn't get this video. I'm not going to get a little taste on my mouth. But one thing at a time, it's the way you do it. It does make for a good life in the wild. So, I decided to learn. Where will you go to survive in the wild? You have to pick something that has a signal and can be delivered. Friends who like to watch wild survival. Don't you want a little attention and support? Tack is back on vacation enjoying life. It's the oyster buffet every day. Can the wife bear it? Even a hermit crab is so small. Crunch it in your mouth. Boy, he's got a seafood buffet. I'm really afraid of the Yi hungry 9 times in 3 days. And afraid that he eats well every day. From then on the powder turned black. This time the boys are in the Australian wilderness. The place is very remote. It would be nice to see someone around. What if something goes wrong? I can't even hear you scream. To blend in with the environment. Taco gets a new skin. Little Black Sun came out. If you don't know, you think the main character has changed. This time, Taco is also showing off her big gluteus. I wonder who did this. Aren't you afraid to go home and kick your wife off the bed? Obviously, he didn't expect it. All I can think about is eating there. The heat and sun are constant here. It does help a little bit with the coloring. At least not worried about getting sunburned. You know what they say, you can see far. Pick a good place first. We still have to go up there. The Yi thought that there would be good things up there. I didn't think I'd dig my own hole. Got the wrong time and came early. It's not the rainy season yet. The fruit hasn't even popped yet. I like to make it harder for myself. Take things as they come. Soon there was laughter. Mindset adjustment is really fast. I want the wilderness to be good. First of all, water must be indispensable. There's a bifurcation right across the canyon. Based on years of bad map judgment, there's no water to eat on your own. Don't ask why are you so confident. I'm not afraid of being hacked anymore. Now that's action. Such hot weather. I never stop sweating. But for one thing, it's really waterproof. It hasn't faded to this day. I wonder how much of the mosaic was painted. Judging by the level of sweat, we're sweating right now. It only takes 4 hours to dehydrate. Most people would have panicked. Takuko, who is good at starving, is lucky. I don't mind the dirty water on the floor. Just pick it up with your hands. The water is as sweet as a bug. Lorda is not welcome. Directly staged the dragon water absorption. It was a good drink. The body is replenished with water and able to move on. If you go, you'll find a little pool. The surrounding environment is perfect for camping. Water, in particular, is so important. Don't even think about entanglement. Just lay there and watch the stars tonight. The water just looks dirty. You see, there's nothing wrong with that. There are also many crocodiles in the area. If only he could climb up and deliver his own food. But not until the water rises. to have a chance to eat crocodile meat. I don't know if they know anything about it. We need to get ready for the shelter. They was going to get a grass skirt, mostly to keep my brother from getting sunburned, not to cut down on mosaics. The surrounding materials are quite abundant, even without any survival tools. You can do most things with your hands. Oh my God, it's still twisted. Maybe he's been single for a long time. I mean, I look pretty good now. It's pretty much the same over here. If you want to eat the whole thing, gotta get back to the shoreline. With any luck, and maybe some food left over from the low tide. We're retreating faster than we thought. If this continues, you can just walk to the other side. You could just swim there, actually. Just afraid the crocodile in the water is too enthusiastic. Is this something that Day is worried about? Crocodiles are more afraid of being the world's #1 game kink. Now is the time to decide whether to steam or braise. There's still some time before dark. If I could order clams on the hour or something, that's a perfect start. You can see white spots on this side of the rock. These are all oysters. Just crack it open and eat it. It's very helpful for couples. Just trying to fill your stomach. Dead Sea is about to merge with the night. He's still hovering at the bottom of the cliff. The way up was never easy. Now the sight line is even worse. It would be a long time if you didn't look at the progress bar. I'm afraid he's going to crash the finale. But I still got lost here. The mood is too anxious. We drove around a few times before we got back to the canyon. I was lucky. There's no time to build shelters. Just lie down and say you can sleep. The mosquitoes around you don't give you any face. I like to attack the weak spot. It's where to sleep through the night. Wake up to see them master helpless pain. Turns out there was a rat around here. I didn't think Jerry would give away his head. The fire is not ready yet. You can't have a rat sashimi. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. Taco still doesn't believe it. I would have crushed a rat into potato chips last night. It's literally a human trap. I don't have time to bake it now. Can only be thrown far away to give back to nature, before the sun is fully out. Just in time to explore the bay across the way. Based on years of starving, I'm sure there's a surprise waiting for me. I don't know if there's a crocodile. It's been a long time since Uncle Da had one. Kind of looking forward to the quality of the meat here. The tide had just receded. You can head to the road to confront the crocodiles. The only thing to worry about. That's the rising tide. I hope it's not up by the time we're done exploring. Next door is a mangrove grove. There used to be a lot of good food. Just about to pick up speed. I didn't think I'd put my foot in it. This slime is really affecting the mood. The fuel that was applied before is pretty much faded. Put some smelly mud on your face as a sunscreen. The taste is really very top. I can't even think about it. Take something useful back with you. There are plenty of bottles up and down the coast. At least the water problem can be solved. And I found a big one. Here's enough water for a few days. But we're going to have to find a way to make a hole. The harvest is quite rich. The only fly in the ointment is what food is there. Looks like another oyster patch today. I just found a big pool over here. The water level is not very high. No need to worry about alligators sneaking up. You can swim in the water. The mood is so good. There are a lot of melaleuca trees around. The bark on this side is thick and spongy. It can be used as a mattress on the floor. It just needs to be cleaned up before use. I'm afraid of getting bitten by the bugs in there at night. After cleaning it up, it's really nice to lie on the bark. It wasn't long before he fell asleep. Wake up the next day and praise the bark. Real name is recommended for everyone to try. After drinking water, I wanted to camp somewhere else. And here you can see what's going on. When the tide goes out, we can get food early. It just doesn't fill you up. Better to go to the mangroves. The only problem is the distance from the stream. I have to bring back water every day. Taco doesn't think it's a problem. There are rocks all over the place. Perfect for a wind wall. I have to say that Day knows how to allocate resources. The sense of accomplishment that is instantly filled. Look at that smile. That's pretty healing. I wonder if this really keeps the wind out. You're dehydrated from being so busy. The most helpless thing is that the bottle leaks. Sure enough, it's a risky thing to pick up for nothing. So I think it's better to drink it straight away. I'll just have to move back in some time. Waking up the next day has triggered 3 days of hunger and 9 days of passivity. No wonder you're laughing so hard. There's still food. Just busy building shelters. Didn't even have time to eat. Eat everything on the hour today. In order to be able to reduce the consumption of water back and forth. Best thing to do is start a fire and make a hole in that ball. It's rich and dry here. Rub it to make a fire. And the rope part is made of this bark. It's so tough, it won't even break. That's a personal recommendation. Just twist it into a knot. And then keep twisting on top of it. Look at this rope coming out. How can you pull it and not break? That must have hurt a lot. A bow drill needs to be this strong for a fire. Take it now to try the effect. This friction speed is getting faster and faster. It's true that dry conditions tend to ignite. Fire went straight into the comfort zone. The flames are burning so high. I'm afraid I might set my grass skirt on fire. Bird roast is a rare thing to do. Every successful fire. It means you have to be unreactive. Who's starving? He's a stranger. The next thing to do is fill up. The stick has burned a hole in the ball. How about a little foot wash on the hour? Grunting was a success. Just get a 10-liter and carry it. Pull the cane down and work it. The best backpack of the season. Able to adapt to a variety of wild environments. It's a pain bag for wilderness lovers. There's no link you want. Don't look at your upper body, okay. The soles of your feet are covered in bruises. It's better than a man who can't stand his feet. Just stop and deal with it. You don't even know how you cut it. That's why you're all over the place. One move really kills you. I'm too tired to go looking for food. What's more comfortable than lying down? After a simple rest and adjustment. Is it time to see what you can eat? I mean, there's enough oysters to be a buffet. But the shell left over here is easy to cut your foot. The sole of the foot was already broken. Now it's getting worse. Detsy held his jade feet and looked again. It doesn't get infected, but it hurts a little. It's better to focus on other things. Oysters alone are bad for the stomach. It's good to have conch on the whole time. These are just snacks. No one's gonna look at this taco. We're gonna need some big guys up here. There are so many crocodiles around waiting for you to gank. Addicted to oysters and all that. No matter how well the body is repaired, it can't be used. It's better to order something hard on the hour. But for Yi, it's already a great seafood barbecue. Hermit crabs do it in 5 minutes. It's like noodles. Crunch is very fragrant. Just a little less in quantity. Hunger has become the norm. It's just a craving. After eating and drinking. And I didn't forget to show you the view. It's a lot more relaxing to watch. Is it any wonder so many cattle and horses yearn for nature? It is much easier than in the city. It's just that the lack of Wi-Fi here is a big problem. It takes days to order takeout. So far, Yi has met the basic requirements for survival in the wild. But if you want to live better, you have to keep working hard. They all came to the sea. It doesn't make sense not to eat a whole fish. It's not too much to get a harpoon for that. What if there is no knife to sharpen? It's easy to just throw it on fire. And then we sand it on the stone. It's not easy to get a tip. High tide is especially good for spearfish. Somebody's going to ask, oh man, your harpoon is really strong, but it's still too manipulative. Do you have any more simple and convenient tools to recommend? That's all the brothers. The question is, do you take the lead? Otherwise, there's no way to catch fish in the water. The tide was rising so fast. To prevent the grass skirt from being washed away, go look on the other side. I hope we can get food here. I mean, it's a tough guy, but walking barefoot for a long time. The wound, it hurts like hell. So it's too hard to say nothing. It has to be protected by something. Right now, the sun is at its most enthusiastic. It feels like it's going to burn. I can't stand not finding some shade. Step on the vegetation as much as possible. If you step on a rock, congratulations on the smell of barbecue. Don't try to catch fish at the beach in this state. Today, that is successful into the starvation period. I wonder what that is on the head. Could it be new hair growth? Every time to the late setback. I don't think I'm serving chicken soup there. Is to lie down and doubt life. I don't understand. Why not start with the shoes? There's so much material around. It shouldn't be that hard. Lucky to have some fruit around. This heat is very high. It's a life-saving pill for survival in the wild. The most important thing is that it tastes really good. It's just a little hard to chew. This would be nice to put on the fire. Probably none of you have seen it before. Nature's sea salt. Salt without human intervention. Just the right thing to add to nuts. Best for prolonged sweating. It's good enough when it's roasted. I didn't expect the salt to be even more unusual. If I could use a glass of happy water, I'm afraid I can wake up laughing when I'm asleep. It's really good for movies. It doesn't get stale like popcorn. This one really gets better the more you chew it. When you've had enough to eat and drink, it's time to think. After all that hard work, it's not too bad. Just totally out of line with my goals. Just see how you wake up tomorrow. The next day we walk by the coast. I didn't expect to find a very long fishing line. If there was a hook, you can imagine how happy you are. The good news is the line is long and not broken. The bad news is there's no hook. Took a long walk around the neighborhood. I was able to find a hook. Next you can try fishing. It's got to be a fight. The conch here is quite good. Don't want the hook to float. Then we need to add some weight with rocks. One more important thing before we go fishing, and that is to put on this with dust. Can effectively prevent skin sunburn. Make sure you put it on the top of your head. Well, if you had a head start, forget it. Now the target is the ledge across the canyon. I wonder if there are any fish over there. There's nothing to say. Pick a place to sit and fish. So far, he hasn't seen any crocodiles. It feels like a wasted challenge. He sat on the edge and wasn't afraid. If you drop this, it's fine in the water. If it's near a rock, that would be a real meal. Nothing but a sunburn at the end of the day, only to hide in the shade. I happen to find a lot of fish here. Too bad I don't have the patience to go fishing today. The Air Force feels terrible. I just want to jump in and eat the whole fish. He began to smile at the wind and talk sense against the wind. He thought he was doing well. The fish isn't really that important. Yes, but with a forced smile. This challenge is not a failure. Just not to my satisfaction. I'm sorry I didn't get a big meal though, but it's more comfortable. Would you call that a challenge? Friends who like to watch wild survival. Don't you want a little attention and support? There's a bunch of fish just waiting to be caught. 9 meals in 3 days. Put together foods that don't fill you up. He even put his hand in the hive. So, what is it, sting that makes him look bad? This time the boys came to the African savanna. It claims to be the world's largest safari park. Not even a breeder. The main thing is a self-sufficiency. Learn how to handle a cat from the locals. Now we need to start on this side of the river. Why does that look so sad? Worried about eating too much food. Old rule, throw out the extra stuff. He didn't even wear his hair. Just to show us how to use your hands to make yourself happy. It's monkey mating season. You know, a guy with a pretty face like duh. It's easy to get them excited. I can only smile awkwardly at this. If there's no fire, I'm afraid they're going to rush in on their own charm. That is a very full understanding. If it's just monkeys, they can handle it. There are hippos around the problem. Small bodies can't take the pressure. But don't worry so much. The title of the world's #1 fighter is not for nothing. Pick up a bone on the ground and call it a knife fight. I don't know if the edge is sharp, but it must be hard to hold. There are many thorns on the ground that didn't get very far. I can't get my feet out of the way. It feels like everything has to be pricked out. What, so Taco doesn't wipe her ass with it? It's not uncommon to see a little over 10 centimeters like this. You don't have any armor at all. It was tied up in a helpless way. There's nothing to cover the feet. But there is something to protect the second brother. The kind that grows near the water is called papyrus. It's perfect for making grass skirts. There are no crocodiles in the water. Just put your leg down and you'll find out. I just don't have time to go hunting right now. The materials are processed after being collected. Are you sure you don't want a mosaic? There's still some time before dark. Should we go find out where we can get some water? No one wants to be dehydrated on the first day. The ground was covered with thorns. This is if you accidentally fall. The picture is too beautiful to imagine. I had a struggle to find an empty place. These feet are broken, but they're better than endurance. The main thing is that the camera bag is too heavy. Otherwise, we could go further. I can't help it. He just wants to spoil his fans. You want to show every detail on camera. Let's get the sleeping area ready first. If an animal comes over and wants to touch it, you can climb a tree and watch. I just want to sleep in peace. This fire still needs to be lit. The most common and useful fuel must be elephant dung. As long as we get to Mars, that's a real handle to start a fire. You can also add some palm leaves. It'll burn easier. It was as if I could already see the flame beckoning. The material is treated with bone. Now we can start a fire with a hand drill. You don't need fast hands. Rub back and forth in this rhythm. It was done in the blink of an eye. It went a lot better than I thought it would. It used to take several attempts. My fire went straight to the top this time. As the smoke becomes more and more, the flames were creeping up. The laughter never stopped. If it weren't for it, it would be dark soon. Why don't you bring us some whole food? Look at him like he doesn't want to starve 9 times in 3 days. I'm really trying to take Elder offline for good. Now protected by fire. In theory, it's safe at night. But don't underestimate hormones in animals. Sometimes even the fire can't stop their enthusiasm. But there's a fire for warmth. The mood is really much better. Small victories, that's a big step toward not starving. The fire split in 2, and he slept in the middle. So you can feel the warmth no matter how you turn it. Not afraid of animals leaping over and attacking. It's not the rainy season, so you don't have to worry about getting wet in the middle of the night. The hippo is the only thing to watch out for. After all, you can hear them breathing. The 2 sides are quite close to that. It's mixed with all kinds of sounds. It was a mixture of excitement and fear. There's so much food around. There's got to be one you can get. Just don't come over in the middle of the night for a kiss. I just want to hit the mute button right now. The noise is very painful. I had to force myself to calm down. Unfortunately, it didn't work out well. Woke up the next day, the whole person that is haggard. I don't want my wife to know what I'm doing. If you're not hearing voices, an antelope must have passed this way last night. Find a chance to talk to it in depth. The baboons up there are calling for Dad to come play. There's nothing wrong with your own aesthetic. Definitely not a baboon. Immediately make a sound to drive away. The baboons didn't respond at all. Just turn on the stereo and hit the bottom. The effect is very obvious. And I picked up a lot of mangosteen. Oh man, just yell and tell me the food. It tastes pretty good. You can eat it for a while with just these nearby. It would be boring to eat only fruit. Put some meat in the belly. How can you be called the world's #1 fighter? Forget the little things on the floor. Food is tasteless, but it's a pity to throw away. There's just an open space over there. It has to be explored. Don't look at the absence of thorns. In fact, these can hurt the foot. No matter how thick the skin is, you can't go blind. I still need something to protect my feet. Dandelion leaves that are big and flat. It would be a shame not to make the soles. It doesn't have to be flashy. The whole flip-flop is enough. I have to say this bone is bad. It took a lot of poking to make a hole. Hard is a little hard, but there's really nothing wrong with it. I don't have to worry about getting hurt anymore. It's a good thing the base is thick. That's what kept the thorns out. Now I can go wherever I want. Happiness that is instant pull full. I smelled like I was walking. Boy, it's been a while. If you had come earlier for vacation, and maybe some fresh meat, based on years of experience in the wild, it must have been taken out by a big cat. After all, there's feces not far ahead. His face suddenly turned hard. It's not that Dave's worried about being eaten. I'm afraid it'll scare the food away. Then we'll have to trigger a passive hunt for food. Better find the big cat and chase it away. It's going to be hard to eat meat the whole time. As we walked along, we could often hear birdsong. Maybe we should consider setting up a trap. It's just getting dark and going back to the fire. The worst thing happened. Thunder and lightning are beginning to thunder outside. No way. No way. This time said to be ready for rain. There is no way to keep out the rain. Just watch the little raindrops keep falling. The weather forecast is not at all accurate. Besides praying it doesn't rain hard. There really isn't a way, is there? He was there all night protecting the fire. Hardly any rest. It wasn't very good when I woke up. Looks like the rainy season really is coming early. The first priority, of course, is to build a shed. Make sure the fire keeps burning. Fortunately, we have more material here. If you collect them all, you'll get the whole house. You don't need a single rope. Just weave it in order. It certainly looks like it at first glance. I don't know if it'll work in the rain. Just enough room to be alone. I'm afraid there's a problem with more than one. Gathering materials while communicating with the baboons. It's not a bad day to live like this and build something to protect the fire. Not bad for a busy day. It's almost a trigger for 9 meals in 3 days. It's not a big rush right now. Get the whole trap out first to catch the bird. If you can catch one, I can feed myself for days. The baboons above started to come and play with him again. The baboon said he would not play with the wild and slipped away. To master a bad smile on his face. The mood is particularly good. Many traps have been prepared. There's got to be one of them. I've been working in the shelter lately. I would have gone looking for food before. I have to say it's getting harder and harder to trigger passivity. There was no accident. It rained heavily again in the evening. Fortunately, the shed was prepared during the day. The fire didn't burn all night. It was really good sleep. It's not affected from the outside at all. So far, things are going well. It's just the food, but the noose is very well prepared. Just waiting for the grouse to hang their own branches. These traps are the difference between living comfortably. Another problem is the presence of hippo droppings. In quantity, that's a lot. Looks like he's here to divide the land. That's pretty close to the shelter. If I had gone a little further in last night, I'm not afraid of being trampled into a paddy. What if it's just passing through? I was afraid I was into myself. So, you should protect yourself when you go out. Let's see if we can find something to eat. We found the remains of another antelope over here. I'm sure I can't eat it. You can take your horns back to pick your teeth. Go out into the open to find birds to play with. Traces in the ground suggest quite a few. Perfect for snares. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just set the bait and wait like this. It does look like something, although the bird has not yet been caught. But he could feel the smell of roasting birds. I'm sure we'll eat it sooner or later. So, why not eat for lunch? The trap arrangement is getting smoother. I feel a bunch of birds walking through my door. It's weird to be in a bad mood. The next few days are not to check for traps. It's to lay new traps. I thought I'd be eating meat soon, but the effect is not as good as expected. A relatively stable source of food. Or take it from other animals. Look at a fruit bat in the tree. I don't have the tools to bring it down, but since it's going to stay here, proof that there must be fruit nearby. It doesn't matter if it's leftovers. One's going to fall off soon enough. The maggots in it get protein. Figs taste good. It would have been better if I hadn't been bitten. I don't think it should be so little. Go deep inside and see what else you can find. It looks like a river in here. It's actually made by the hippo's short legs. Kind of curious what happens down here. Didn't notice anything strange on the way. There's a little too much papyrus by the water. I wonder how many creatures are hiding inside. Suddenly, there was a loud noise. Take a closer look. Isn't there food? Throw a net in here. I know it's been there for weeks. That's a pretty impressive way to eat. If you get in the water yourself, don't say anything else. I'm sure my brother will be eaten clean. Guess there must be crocodiles in there to keep the numbers up. Otherwise, the ditch would have been filled with fish. Mainly, we don't have the right weapons. Or you will go and try it. There's no food to eat today. Then it must be the familiar chicken soup. He said he was so hungry, but it doesn't look weak. First thing I wake up every day. The bag is to check for traps. Unfortunately, it either didn't trigger or something went wrong. There's just no food to eat. The promised food is plentiful. Why is it so hard to order meat all the time? I don't think you picked the wrong place. Eating fruit all the time is not the answer. Want to look further afield. The shoelace suddenly broke again. I don't think that's going to last long. Waste a lot of time fixing shoes. Smiling at first. Now that's not even moving the corners of your mouth. No rush to get out when the shoes are fixed. See where to go the most abundant. I've been thinking about it all the same. Just pick a direction and keep going. There's a hive out front. That means you can eat honey. Now that smile is harder than AK. Too many stings are bound to cause big problems. In addition to their own, can quickly get the honey out. Otherwise, the only way is to smoke. I hope they give themselves a face. I thought we could just grab it and be done. No matter how prepared you are, you're going to get stung. The thought of having honey now. The mood is so excited. The materials are just starting to gather here. I didn't think there were any defenses. The shoes still didn't hold up. We're an hour away from the shelter. If only I could get any closer. You don't have to worry about getting into trouble. The most annoying thing is the hippo. Dude, if I were here, I'd have fun. If you get hit, you don't even need to call for a recovery. Hippos generally stay in the water during the day to cool off. But it's not normal to be able to see it now. No hippo cares about himself. It's hard to get out of here with a broken foot. Fortunately, we made it back to camp without any trouble. Not much has changed here, although he said he was the world's #1 fight wild. But I still worry about being killed by a wild monster. Right after that, there's a hippopotamus coming. The two sides are quite close to that. They didn't just run away. Still out there watching the hippo. Too bad you don't have a sharp weapon. What else do you want to taste about hippos? It was just hanging around the camp, just hiding in the trees for a while. There are paw marks on the hippo's ass. I don't think you've had a fight with a big cat. Whatever the reason, it's just a matter of getting out of here. Such experiences are far too rare. It's a good thing we picked a good spot in the first place. Dee began to give a bad smile. So what do hippos have to be afraid of? Maybe next time we can play with a big cat. Let's just say it's really big. Anyone else would have panicked by now, since hippos can't help themselves. Little honey, that's going to be fine. That confidence is swelling a little fast. Not only did I have protective gear to protect myself, still bringing in the unfinished charcoal. Make sure you remove the honey. You can see there's a lot of bees. Let's get some smoke to calm them down. Then you can put on a hood and get food. Don't you say it. I mean, that's kind of cool. That's how you make the smoke. I'm making honey with a goat's horn. Bees are not stupid. They sting right at the arm. Finally decided to grab the honey with my bare hands. I mean, it's just a little bit, but the mood is so good. The fly in the ointment is that it's not very new, but sweet and very happy. Came back to find nuts on the ground to eat. Turns out you can make a good living. You need more to survive in the wild. I was satisfied with everything. There are no regrets about this challenge. Diz too happy to yell at the baboon. Too bad the trap didn't work. You can go home and have a nice meal after the demolition. I can only talk about my life, my dream, friends who like to watch wild survival. Don't you want a little attention and support? Garble the whole roast for breakfast. And then a little kebab pick-me-up. It's really light enough. There's a billion bits of meat over there. If that's enough, that would be too small a look at him. It has to be something local. The protein is several times that of beef. Stop it. Clang clang, and we're done. This time the man came to Venezuela. You look so nervous. What's going on? Why don't we just go to the top of the mountain, 2,000 meters above sea level? There's no one around to see. They shouldn't be so nervous. He has stripped off his clothes. Walk around naked for the next 10 days. All of a sudden, he started giggling. The adjustment of mentality still depends on the DE. Enjoy the surrounding scenery. Time to find out where to lie. Except for the photographic tools. There's nothing there to. The main thing is a free self. Though the head becomes brighter, but the ability to starve has also increased. But let's just say one thing. It's really cold here. In fact, my body is shaking slightly. It's hard to imagine how cold it will be at night. This shelter has to be prioritized with the fire. It's not easy to get it all right. Dave's got a headache in his head. There's no time for small talk. Gotta find a place by sundown. It'll be warmer down the hill. The bushes were very thick. Never mind if you scratch yourself. It's kind of cold just to touch it. There's still fog all around. Can't even tell the direction. Sure enough, he likes to take on difficult challenges like this. It's really about killing yourself. Most afraid of snakes lurking in the bushes. I don't tolerate poison either. That's got to be carried away. #1 in the world. You're going to feel like this in the wild. I wish I had a knife now. At least it clears the way. Trying to be happy with just your hands. That's really not easy. I'd smack myself in the mouth if I were you. Why didn't you bring anything? I don't even have my hair. This is a wilderness vacation. Come and give back to nature. Before one could go out, the sky began to rain. Now I've got something I can use. Just pull it off. If I miss this tree today, I don't know if we'll meet again. The bark could be food in another's hands. But to the this is the mosaic killer. After wearing grass skirts, the whole temperament is different. Found a rock to use. Smash these up. The right shape can be used as a knife. Although it probably won't work after a few tries. But it's better than nothing. We can't even see the sun right now. You never know when it's dark. but my body feels colder and colder. He doesn't have much time. Keep looking down the hill. I didn't realize we had a lot of stuff. Look at the hive over there. I don't know if it's cold or not. I couldn't get this close without a bee. Turn the rock over and have a look. I didn't think there was a snake in there. The scorpion next door is full of babies. It was an incredible scene. I think I only want half the honey. 100% natural and free of pollution. One bite is full of happiness. I guess it's hard to starve 9 times in 3 days. After being moistened with honey, the whole person that is very excited. Pick up speed and head down the hill. Although it's the same damp and uncomfortable, but it's a lot better than what's up there. We can find a wide place to camp. The sound of running water is pretty obvious. I didn't get very far before we ran into each other. No more worrying about dehydration. Go straight down the river. There's always an empty space. Plus, the surrounding material is rich. Soon we'll be in position to move. The speed of the work is really good. Doesn't look like it's anything. If you try using a stone knife, you understand the value of building a shelter. The problem is it's raining here. I really don't give you any face. The camera almost got soaked in water. There was no time to gather the materials to build it. Spend the night soaking wet. Better than Yi cannot withstand the cold. All I could do was hold myself and shake. We're in a freeze muggles if we keep this up. Had to open the first aid kit to save himself. This is the first time I've seen him use it. You can imagine how hostile the environment is here. If there's no emergency survival blanket, I'm afraid he's doomed. I woke up the next day feeling pretty good. It's not like it's cold at all, just the way it was supposed to be. The first aid kit proves it. I can't be comfortable here on my own, but the challenge must continue. After learning one's lesson, that's to arrange for the roof to be done immediately. What do you say not to get cold? Although this kind of collection is relatively simple, but it took me 3 hours to be satisfied. It's neat and it's very comfortable. I want to get better. The most important thing is the results of the fire. Such a humid environment. That's a headache even for Lorda. There's nothing dry around here. It feels like it can come out of the water. What else can you do? Can only continue to look inside. Material not found. I did find a big waterfall. The excitement went wrong. Fortunately, there was no injury. What people don't expect is that there's still food to eat from this fall. Dude, are you sure there's no script? It's just like playing me. The Aguda must have died recently. I wonder if I can eat it. We just need to cut it open to see how it looks. Fresher than I thought. If you want to eat meat, you have to build a fire. Tak is so stressed out his hair's gone. He didn't want to waste his chance to eat. It's not going to start a fire. There's nothing wrong with eating it raw. It's a good thing there's an empty plain. Material under the sun's blessing. It's perfect for a fire. The fire was lit as soon as he got back with the materials. I can smell barbecue in my head. The friction was quite smooth. Fire is successfully on the line of return. The flames were creeping up. Now you can hang the goodie. Just have to wait a while. And I set the grass skirt on fire to help. That's a lot of guts. I was addicted to skewers in a flash. You can see how delicious it is when roasted. And the internal organs are rich in nutrients. The body is especially needed. Now you're trying to trigger 9 meals in 3 days. Starve and be damned. Let's just say it's a nice little life right now. Except the first night was a little rough. The rest of the time, it was pretty comfortable. Reward yourself with a skewer. Don't look at the black paint. The smell in there is amazing. The laughter never stopped. If I could eat this every day, what's wrong with a few more but false? Even the guts are so good. That's the right way to open up for wilderness survival. After enjoying the skewers, Master Da is about to start expressing his thoughts again. Forget the miserable first night. It feels like half the challenge is done. The rest of the day is up to us. How can you live more comfortably? Really is against the wind cry, she. The wind is smiling. The next day you wake up and gargle the whole grill. That's a little light on its own. What if you add this roast to the mix? It doesn't feel so hard to survive in the wild. Judging by the current amount of meat, no need to worry about hunger for at least 3 days. Eating meat all the time is exhausting my mouth. This will continue for a few more days. Tears come to my mouth just thinking about it. It's just that the shelter's not working. Need to constantly collect materials to improve. We can gather more wood when the weather clears up. It's all for the better. Except there's no Wi-Fi. This is not a bad place to spend your vacation. I don't know if Doe is available. Invite him to join the civil engineering department under guidance. I like this simple and efficient infrastructure. And now they even have a bed. It's up to me to enjoy the wilderness. If there's anything to worry about, that bag is the water level of the river. If it's submerged, it's all over. The main thing is that the rain has no intention of stopping. I can't help but panic. If I'd known this was going to happen, maybe we should shelter away a little. At least it won't be so passive. It's no use worrying. We should eat and drink. Won't the rain stop smoothly? The small life that is called a good. The water level is still rising. Estimated distance to the shelter is about 1 meter. I lied about not worrying, but there's no intention of evacuating. I'd rather try something different on the hour. Conditions are perfect for a fishing trap. It's not easy to grow a palm tree this big. I was just trying to fix the material. Unfortunately, it's not easy to climb. To be on the safe side, that would have to be the whole thing. No knife needed. Use the vine to pull it off. Materials are easily obtained. So when it comes to the wild, use your brain. There are always more solutions than difficulties. It's basically the part that needs the stalk. Does anyone have any idea what kind of fishing trap it is? I also ate hearts of palm while gathering materials. The taste can only be described as average. It's a good thing to eat in the wild. Just as Dirk was about to go back and set the trap, traces of wild boar were found on the ground. There's a local way to kill it. It's either a cougar or a leopard. Either way, it's protected by law. No matter how strong he is, he doesn't want to eat peanuts. As long as the flame doesn't go out, it's pretty safe at the shelter. It's time to make the trap. It wasn't really that hard. A little bit of manipulation to put it together. We have the general shape. The main thing is that the knitting process takes a little longer. It was dry from day to night. It's still a long way from being usable. It takes so much time and energy. We're gonna cry if we don't catch a fish. Put the finishing touches on the fishing gear the next day. This is the final product. Once the fish gets in, they can't get out. The best bait around is the termites. It's delicious and easy to get. Of course, the most important thing is the quantity. You don't have to worry about getting eaten. Now the river is slowly falling. The flow rate didn't slow down. I'd slap myself if I just put it down. This side of the entrance needs to be smooth and much higher. You don't have to worry about the air force. Termites are so delicious. Any fish would like to come up. We'll see if we can eat the fish tomorrow. Dirk was here for 8 days. It rained there for 6 days. I spent most of my time lying here in a daze. I'm so bored I can only mention my courage. 2.5 years at Amazon. I've never experienced rain like this. I say I'm comfortable, but if it were anyone else, I'm afraid I can't bear to go home. Oh man, he wanted us to compliment him. If it wasn't cold enough for the first night, I thought the challenge was perfect. Idle is idle. Might as well get into the water and swim. They say you can find crabs in the crevices. Digging and digging in the water. Too bad you didn't feel anything. I almost froze myself. Dee began to talk about success again. Despite the simplicity of survival in the wild. This is the result of years of honing. Most people just order takeout. You think you can train yourself to starve in a day or two. It's hard to wait for a good day. What about the trap? I had a little bit of luck. You can get a small fish. If that's the size of the trap. Dana is really crying himself to death. In order to be able to roast this fish to taste better, check the neighborhood for ingredients. But it's good to get some sun. Originally warm body is very comfortable. It's just that the sight of this big shit is freezing. It's got a lot of wild boar hair on it. I said, why can't I meet a pig? The big cat ate it all up. I'm feeling a little bit unhappy. I wouldn't have walked around if I'd known. It's like there's a big cat everywhere now, you know? It can't be almost over. And give yourself the whole show. It's only safe to go back to camp. Actually, I scared myself. If we have to fight a big cat, I've already arranged for a close-up. I want to show you a replay of the world's #1 fighter. I mean, it's a fish so small that it's stuck between your teeth. But I'm just asking if you're a fish. I've already eaten the fish. The challenge must not be perfect. Snacks should not be short after meals. The hearts of palms around here are good guys. I suggest you just chew on it. Didn't you find an agouti earlier? How about we go over and look at the innards? It stinks a little. The maggots in there are good things. The protein is several times that of beef. That's what I wanted to use as bait. Or bake it yourself. What's there to get hung up on? More like eating maggots, of course. Preferably raw. Well, I don't need a little support. Just chill the whole heart of palm first. It will taste even better when roasted. Kind of like that tasteless yogurt. The maggots here are steamed. You don't get bad reviews for eating it raw. It's like popcorn, actually. It's really good. It melts in your mouth. It's not like eating maggots at all. It's like creme brulee. Try it as a snack for your kids when you have a chance. It's hard not to be healthy when you have a dad-like day. I want to have a good life here. Shelter and fire must be taken care of. There's plenty of food around. I'm sure I'll be comfortable as long as it's not too bad. But I want to be like Dirk. Just got to keep working on it. Before you know it, the last day has come. He's a little tired of this bed. I don't know when he gets home. I don't really need a grub treat. No one thought they'd be gone. There's more at the trap. It's a little too small, but it does work. The thought of eating grilled fish. To be able to go home and have a good meal. The smile on the mouth you say how to press. The laughter never stopped. It would be great if the family could come on vacation. Friends who like to watch wild survival. Don't you want a little attention and support? It can't be easy to have smelly food. Like this skunk in your hand. It smells bad before it's treated. Your hands will marinate after you handle them. If you don't give up this far, you can cook it on the fire. The smell mixed with the smell of the meat. I don't know how to describe the taste. I'm the only one who dares to say nothing. Well, it doesn't tell you how good it is. This time the boys came to the Sonoran Desert. Got a lot of sweat before we even started. Tell me you're not dehydrated before you even start. Has he figured out how to enjoy life? Keep looking for water while you're up there. It doesn't look like anyone's hanging around. The nearest town must be 100 miles. Probably the driest, hottest place I've ever been. I feel like I could fry an egg. This is the border with Mexico. People cross illegally from time to time. So vacation here. It's not just animals to watch out for. And watch out for armed men. Yi was prepared for this, too. Got an old local mage to fix the armor. Everyone on this side will look good. Life safety is guaranteed. It's just a little expensive. What's the point of worrying? Think of it as a financial disaster. I could use it as a souvenir back home. I hope this camera has a highlight reel, not a replay of your own death. But let's just say one thing. You got nothing on you right now. It's probably more scary to strangers. Let's find a water source first. Now you have to hold it even if it's urgent. Don't waste any water in your body. The surrounding riverbed is very dry. Just over the mountainside. Try to walk in the shade. We're not going to dehydrate ourselves. Well, for one thing, a cover doesn't help. It's like an oven now. I'm going to burn my feet in there, even though it's already so hard. I don't forget to snack on the hour. It's delicious. It's just getting thirstier. But if there's food to eat, the water source should be close by. Better than I can stand the heat. Can only stop and wait for the sun to weaken. Imagine the amount of energy your body expends. If we don't find a water source in the next few hours, he's not going to get dehydrated right away. But you may want to consider other fluids. No, it's the wheat drink you're thinking of. If it comes to that, that's a big problem. I don't know if it's an illusion. I think it's getting dark in there again. The body is sweating less and less. Already on the verge of dehydration. I'm sure we can't go on like this. I really need some time for my body to slow down. This has not yet begun to starve. The body is already so tired. I certainly wouldn't want to go anyway. There is no air conditioning, cover, comforter comfortable. The weather forecast says it will rain in a few days. I can't see it anyway. The sun was so strong that we had to wait until dark before we started. Take the time to get yourself a whole dress. Boy, the mosaics are going to the darkroom again. It was a real challenge to change the dress. The man who leads the wild survival fashion. Cool where it belongs. You know you're going to make a living. The sun has entered the weaker version. I can finally give you a chuckle. It's not easy. There's about 3 hours of total darkness. Water is the most important thing. Yet he was fascinated by the plants around him. This is a wildfire success, baby. Just take it off and break it into sections. Through constant friction between the two. Such a dry environment. Plus the fiery self. I thought the spark was just about to arrive. Put it in the tinder and give it a toast. Isn't that what you do with your hands? The fire was blowing bigger and bigger. Day thinks he's done. When I'm really thirsty, look around for cactus. The fruit above contains a lot of water. These will take the edge off. I wonder what will happen to these when they are juiced to make milk tea. I think it tastes good too. It's like a cucumber. How can you eat it? I got some hay for the mattress at night. I made it through the first day. Tomorrow I'll wake up looking for water and thinking about food. Wanted to be comfortable in the desert. Even Day is feeling a little stressed. I woke up fine the next day. I'm just a little thirsty to be able to fall asleep in this environment. Let's just say Day is really good, now surrounded by the surrounding mountains. Before the sun comes up, try to explore your surroundings a little more. The main thing is to find water. This hole in the rock isn't natural. Someone threw it out on purpose. You can put the seeds in it to make flour. There's plenty more of it around. Proof that a lot of people live there. The one with the water nearby. The plants are obviously much greener over there. How about we go over there first? In this heat, the demand for water must be the more the better. Enter the new area. It definitely feels a lot cooler. You know, when you go through, you catch meat. It doesn't look like there's water around. Not to mention this gutter. Drier than my own face. No wonder the old people moved away. This is not a human environment. We still have to find water. I hope the next ditch will be kind to me. I don't know if prayer helped. Ye heard something different. The bees are so active over there. There may be a chance of getting water. It looks very different up close. That green algae up there is greener than my hat. Don't look at the dirty surface. If we clean this out, you'll find it dirtier inside. Ye did not hesitate. Direct is zero frame to start drinking water. I don't know if the stomach can take it, but if you don't drink water, your bladder will fail. After Master got the water to nourish. Now it's happy again, but no purification directly drink. I'm kind of worried that something might go wrong. Maybe we should boil the water in a container. I'm not worried about food at all. More important now is sun protection. Watch out, this is a special face cream made by Lorda. The ingredients are very simple, just saliva and stones. It's kind of cool to just put it on your face. Apply to sunburned areas. You don't have to worry about problems anytime soon. You can even choose your favorite color for polishing. If it's not saliva, save it. He wanted to put it all over his body. The most common thing in the desert is cactus. Most of it is edible. Like this. It's as big as a tree. The fruit on the top is very sweet. I don't think I can get up there. The fruit can only be removed by means of tools. Fortunately, the surrounding materials are relatively easy to obtain. It can be used in simple combinations. It's a little heavy, but it doesn't affect it. I didn't expect the inside of the fruit to look like this. Put it in your mouth and taste it carefully. This is even better than that jam. There are plenty of cactus nearby. Day's got the tools, and he's picking them off one by one. That's enough to complete the challenge. He was not satisfied with that. Gather it all up and dry it. Men's happiness is that simple. I don't know if the weather forecast is accurate. We do need the whole shelter covered. You can rest a little more comfortably then. The next day, I woke up fine. Although clouds can block out the sun, but the shape looks like it's going to rain. There's a need for this shelter. The materials nearby are just right. Flexibility is particularly good, but also strong and durable. The shelter frame should use them, and then put plants on it for a roof. That sounds pretty simple, but it also took a day to build. The finished product does look good, although there are plenty of plants to eat, but I still want to get some meat. Probably still trying to catch it in a trap. I don't know if the animals here are giving Day face. After all, it's going to be on the table. It just rained suddenly during the night. It was more violent than I thought. Too bad there's no container for rainwater. Or you can have another drink. By the time the rain stopped, it was morning. The shelter was no problem at all. Rain shouldn't be too frequent here. Cherish the water that remains. These are much better than the ones in the gutter. Drink it straight away. The whole person is much more comfortable. Let the rain evaporate as little as possible. I drank water that was fine. I don't want to drink that stinky water anymore. I said I didn't want to drink it, but there must be some animals that don't mind. So set traps along the way. A bright head is a fast spin. That would take a like. The trap looks a little simple, but as he passed, he put his head in. That bag will condense into essence in the belly of the. Idle is idle anyway. Might as well set more traps. So you can pick your favorite death replay. Such a sweet uncle is really torture. Usually, they're used to catch Jerry, but sometimes it can hit an iguana. But either way, Day was willing to pack it all up and take it away. No more, no less than 5 traps. I'll do some more tomorrow. Make sure that all the ingredients around you can experience it. Ideas are good, they just don't like to eat fruit. None of the traps triggered success. It wasn't too soon, was it? I just didn't think anyone would steal water. This has to be caught on fire. What the hell are you thinking? I didn't even realize it. Don't you see the traps around? Serious suspicion of provocation. There's still damage to the tunnel trap. Looks like Durg has met his match. I thought I'd find a place to rest. I didn't expect to see a mural. Says it's thousands of years old. I don't believe it for a second. If it's that valuable, Durg wouldn't have wanted to paint it too. Rub the rock to remove some of the paint. I'm just going to see what Deer wants to leave behind. Looks a bit like a rabbit. He just wanted to use the trap to catch one. But one thing is pretty. Is there anyone who wants this neighborhood? It's not just for decoration. You can protect yourself when the chips are down. It's the perfect gift for the holidays. I want you to bring me bigger rocks. The water thief must be caught. No matter who comes here, it won't work. That was pretty painful to hit, but it's been verified by my father. Got smashed more than once. His fingers are dry and bleeding. We're gonna need a rabbit to fix it. May the ancestors of the rock face be blessed. Who knows what's going to happen? It took a lot of trying on this side of the trap. As soon as it gets here, the bones are in pieces. Before you know it, the 9th day has come. Except for not eating meat. Everything else is going pretty well. So many traps. None of them are working. They are too cunning or they are too simple. Just when I'm disappointed. Boy, I didn't catch the rabbit. To a live skunk. Just got a lot of discharge. It really stinks, even though there's no machete in his hand. But you can kill it with a rock. The process must be handled with great care. If you accidentally get secretions in your eyes. There's no clean water here. I mean, it's just on my hands. But it stinks unacceptably. This is all the meat you've been working on. It's gonna have to be cleaned up on the hour. Then you can cook it on the fire. The smell of meat mixed with the smell. You don't even know how to describe it. It's a little less fun to just eat meat. You can collect some pods. It's sweet to eat it straight. We're going to use those caves for processing. Try to crush the seeds into a powder and mix them together. Put some saliva and sweat in there. You can knead it into a dough. It's just a little dry. It's full of cactus pulp. I don't know if it tastes good, but the moral content must be very high. Skunk, that was a little bit of a roast. Don't know how to describe it. I hope it smells weird and tastes good. Just take a big bite. Look at the look on his face. He knows everything, as long as it's edible. I highly recommend you try it. It's a big test for the taste buds. Put the roast aside for a moment. How about some pie? It smells sweet inside. You know, I got all these giggles. Skunks are still good pies. I believe you already have the answer. After eating, the heaven drops the dew. This is a wonderful life. Enjoy the baptism of nature. Happiness is that simple. We just can't break the camera, or this challenge will be wasted. It's raining harder and harder. Sit in the cave and enjoy the view. That's the right way to open up for wilderness survival. Happiness is always so short. It's time to say goodbye again. I wonder where he's going on vacation. Don't forget to like and follow. Hanging out with Day, starving 9 times in 3 days is not a dream. Starved and forced off the line. 2 catfish just cut through a guy. A strip of smoked jerky to eat. One of them goes straight to the skewer. Man, I really don't give hunger a chance. Times have changed. It's all dried rice out there. The little days are getting better and better every day. This time the brothers came to Rwanda, Africa's big stage. Want to go hungry? There's actually quite a lot of food here. Just not a lot of them to mess with. For number 1 in the world. With a knife, he can make this place clean. Only this time with nothing. Even her hair is at home. Only the camera took the recording to make merit studies. Teach you how to achieve your dreams with your hands. It's about 2 kilometers above sea level. I can't take too many big breaths. Getting closer to the sun. The guy who doesn't want to tan. We need to find water and build shelter. That's the only lake waiting for him. That's about 7 kilometers. If the sun wasn't too strong, 3 or 4 hours of walking is about right. There are animal footprints on this side. Looks like they're all heading for the water. Look at this shit. I can't believe how happy I am. Proves there's plenty of food around. Once we're settled in, we'll have to hunt. In this hot weather, cattle and horses know to hide. I mean, it's just a real bull and a horse. We've got buffalo droppings here. You can tell it's where they've been resting. The water source must be close to here. Yi began to laugh again. Looks like we found a water source. The water is a little dirty, but it's better than being dehydrated. As for whether there will be problems, the iron stomach of Lorda can stand the test. Mud should also be put to good use. It's more effective than those sunscreens. There's nothing wrong with it except the smell. The whole person was instantly refreshed. The point is it's free and in large quantities. Now the animals smell human on themselves. Fortunately, a lone buffalo can be seen. I wish I had a field knife. Good opportunities for this kind of gank are rare. If you can't eat it, you'll scare it home. In this way, you can collect materials with peace of mind. Always put on a little grass skirt. Love dearly Mosaic and suffered unemployment. We were supposed to build a shelter. Who knows what he's going to do if it's not raining? You might as well have a perimeter fence to protect yourself. The best option is under a tree. Even if an animal tries to attack, you can climb up there and laugh. Trying to be comfortable at night in Africa. The fire is especially important. Dry environment with dry materials. By virtue of many years of friction experience, it's hard to flip a car. With a little effort, we can get Mars right. And buy fires online. It was totally on fire. There's nothing wrong with a little worship. The start was relatively smooth. There's just no wall to protect it. Sleeping is not at all practical. The paint around it is black. Only animal noises could be heard. If you have no fire and no tree to climb, take a word of advice from Deer. You can't handle the water in here. Get out of here. The next day, I wake up to buffalo. The 2 sides are too close. Just wait till they're full. Moving pieces of steak. It really makes people cry with greed. Watch them start to leave. We can finally get some water. It's just that the buffalo is a bit much. There's only so much water left for me. We're gonna have to find a new source of water. I didn't know we had surprises waiting for us. The water in this well is a little dirty, but it's better than fainting from dehydration. The joy of God that is back. Don't worry about water for a while. Want to sleep well at night. A lot of firewood had to be collected every day to survive. The physical cost of that is considerable. If you want to get the food, the best thing is to set a trap. Picked up a bone and used it as a digging tool. It feels good to use. The native people eat the roots of the plant. I don't know what his name is. It's like a potato anyway. It takes more energy to dig than it takes back. You might as well just lie down and starve. The problem is he likes it whole. A day without food makes me feel sick. These little potatoes don't even need washing. Put it straight into the fire and cook. It tastes good, kind of like a potato with a chestnut flavor. It's good and it's done. This is what the high prairie feels like here. Have you nothing to look forward to? Still get to the lake. At least the water tastes better. Go back and clean up now. Wake up the next morning and start right away. To make sure I don't faint from dehydration on the way, just drink a little more while there's water. He'll probably take a walk and then rest. I don't want to start a fire again. Then wrap the hay up so you light it and put it out. Maintain in a braised state. I have to say I still have a lot of experience. Anyone else would have left already. We're all set to head across the lake. Compared to the active animals around, just keep an eye on where you're stepping. I said I drank a lot of water before we left. But in the sun, I feel like I'm on a barbecue. The water is constantly evaporating from the body. To get there faster, Yi had no choice but to go around the mountain road. Would rather put in a little more effort. I don't want to go any further. I don't know how long I've been walking here. I can finally see the lake. You can feel a little wet on your face. The food resources are much better than in the mountains. Confident that you can set your own barbecue free. The mouth of the mouth, almost water. Of course, the most important thing now is to drink water. Light the fire to keep it safe at night. The hippo's movement is clear here. You have to be very careful about drinking water here. If you don't notice you're being watched, it's not as simple as getting your ass arched. But the water is worth it. There are plenty of berries nearby. Sweet and sour is especially popular. It's just that eating too much is bad for your stomach. I still want to eat meat all the time, given the overactivity of the surrounding ingredients. We had to get some bushes for protection, preferably the prickly kind. I'm sure someone's going to ask what if we jump in. If so, congratulations to the lucky one. The reward will be posted with the master. I don't think anyone thinks they can beat Durham. The biggest danger around is hippos. As long as you don't get in trouble. It was nightfall, and Du was just going to lie down. The hippo said to come up to eat grass. The sound is getting closer. Tell me you're not here to eat meat. There's nothing you can do, right? Just quietly looking out. I saw the sun without a hitch. People are just a little sleepy. De Yi smiled, the surrounding ingredients to pay attention. The world's #1 Hito is about to start hunting. You don't have to worry too much. After all, we're all protected by the law. Mainly depends on the situation of the fish and birds. I could use a big fish for a while. I have to say there are plenty of animal traces. Why don't you see someone at your door? There are hippos hanging out near the camp. They're what bothers me the most. Eat and not eat, drive and revenge. Don't expect to see the lake over there. Let's go around to the other side. If you're thinking about eating some greenery, that cactus fruit is a perfect match. Just be careful not to get pricked. These fruits are still pretty good. You know, it's actually pretty good for a wall. Just no trees around to climb. Otherwise, you can eat the pulp while lying down. It looks a bit like a kiwi. It doesn't taste like anything, does it? But it's nice to eat. If you want to be comfortable here, then we have to find a way to get meat. It's no fun to starve yourself. Let's get the hunting gear out first. Look at the bushes. They're perfect for rope. The weave will be stronger. Tak is eyeing the birds by the lake. They don't look very smart. Put more bait on the trap. I'm sure there's a bird coming. There are several of them at once. I'm sure the odds of success would be better with more placement. It's a classic structure in a classic. You know, the berries are in there, and I want to eat them. Not to mention the birds. When is it just a matter of time? There are still plenty of fish in the water waiting to be caught. Arrange for fishing traps to come out immediately. Try to get the birds and the fish. It's a good life to think about. Stick around first. Just leave room for the fish to come in. And don't even think about going out there. There's just getting ready to be happy. The hippo next door makes a sound. That's a bit of a temper tantrum. Now I'm afraid he's going to walk over here. You're going to cry if you break a trap. There's a termite nest right next door. Just in time to bait the fish. Everything is ready. When is the meat available? While waiting, these are the only berries you can eat. The problem is it hasn't worked for days. De Yi that is becoming more and more irritable. I'm starting to get a little stuck in my little head. There's nothing wrong with the trap, but I didn't want to give it to you. Is the bait not attractive enough? Or they've learned to starve themselves? The mood is getting lower and lower. It takes a little meat to change that. It's been more than 9 meals in 3 days. Can't continue to escalate passive. Take the initiative and explore the area. If there's a new way to eat, I have a better chance of eating meat. However, the effect is not very obvious. The sun is not so strong today. He wants to look further afield. You don't know where to eat. Try to look in areas where animals are active. Just walked up here and said he's scared the baboons. Is he too strong? I haven't eaten any meat lately. What's there to be afraid of? Follow the baboons to see what's going on. I didn't realize there were more animals here. I wish I hadn't brought my knife. Just go to one of them. I could eat it myself for a long time. I'm a little worried about using only my hands. The more I look, the hungrier I get. I just want to get up there and fight. Just eat if you can get it. I thought I'd starve today. I didn't expect to encounter a fresh elephant dung. These are good things. Does it look like ice cream? It's still matcha and chocolate. Dai even smells what the elephants have eaten. It makes them look normal. Someone else would have laughed like that. It won't take a slap in the face. There's nothing to eat around. It's like going to the zoo. I like to be closer to the elephants. He followed carefully. There is something wrong with this state of mind. I'm afraid of scaring the elephants. If this comes at me, it doesn't matter how fast you run, but to be so close to an elephant. I was so excited inside. It's not like what they keep in the zoo. These have a wild charm. The giraffes are nice over there too. I love them so much. I wish I could see it on the table every day. The more I look at it, the more I want to cry. Everyone is so friendly. Why don't you want to have a belly reunion? There's no chance of getting food for this challenge. The whole time, hunger shows you how to starve. You're only hurting yourself if you stay like this. How about a final look at the trap? So much for bird cash. I really don't want to look at it. The only hope is fishing. Who would have thought? We all thought we were going to fail. We got a catfish right here. It was bigger than I thought. You think that's the end of it? There's another one in there waiting for him. Dude, you're gonna have to go hungry. Fishing traps have proved useful. 2 catfish at once. If only such joy had come sooner. But it's not bad now. Take it back immediately for clean cooking. 2 at a time is too extravagant. The whole shelf can be smoked. Life is finally getting better. Prove that you can live here too. There's too much meat. I'd like a glass of happy water. I don't even know how happy this can be. I'm not used to it all of a sudden. I feel like I should keep starving, watching to eat so well. The pig's foot in your hand is not going to smell good. Anyway, Day's day in Africa is over okay, because he's going home to a better life. I can't let him go back and enjoy it. Friends who like to watch wild survival, don't you want a little attention and support?